Welcome to our AI Smart Professional series. In this explainer, we're going to dive into something really powerful: how you can use AI to make sure you sound just as smart as you actually are. Let's get right into it.
So let me ask you a question, and be honest. Have you ever been in a situation, maybe a big meeting, or while you're writing a super important email, and you know exactly what you want to say, but the words just get stuck? You've got this brilliant, crystal clear idea in your head, but actually communicating it feels like a total struggle. That feeling creates what you could call a hidden ceiling on your potential. It's this invisible barrier that you hit when your best ideas just don't land with the kind of impact they really deserve. And it has nothing to do with how smart you are. It's purely a breakdown in translation. And this, right here, is one of the hard truths of the modern workplace. How people perceive you, your clarity, your confidence, that often opens up way more doors than just pure effort alone. Let's face it, how you communicate your ideas is every bit as important as the ideas themselves. This just nails that common frustration, doesn't it? You see the problem, you see the solution. It's all laid out perfectly in your mind. But then, when it's time to explain it to everyone else, it feels harder than just doing the thing yourself. And that's when your best ideas lose all their power, somewhere between your brain and the listener's ear. So let's dig into why this happens. What's actually creating this communication bottleneck? I promise you, it's not a personal failing. It's really just about how our brains and our workplaces are wired. First off, our thoughts aren't neat and tidy. Our internal thinking process is, well, it's a beautiful, chaotic web of connections and ideas. It's a brainstorm, not a perfectly organized, bulleted list. We just don't think in perfectly formed sentences.
And then you take that internal chaos and you smash it right up against the intense pressure of the workplace. You get put on the spot in a meeting, or you've got like 5 minutes to reply to a supercritical email. You're expected to instantly translate that messy web of thought into a simple, clear, and persuasive point. That is a huge cognitive lift. This quote just sums it all up perfectly. The creative spark, that flash of insight, that's the easy part, right? The real challenge is packaging that idea so that somebody else can see it just as clearly as you do. Okay, so we've spent enough time on the problem. We get it, it's tough. But what's the solution? Well, this is where we need to start thinking about AI in a whole new way, not as a replacement for your thinking, but as your own personal thought partner, a powerful tool for finding clarity. Let's be super clear about what this means. An AI thought partner is basically an external processor for your brain. You can feed it all your raw, unstructured, messy thoughts, and it helps you organize them, polish them, and structure them for maximum impact. Think of it as your second brain, one that's a total expert on communication. So how does this actually work? Well, it's a pretty cool 4-step process. First, it organizes. You can just brain dump everything, and the AI will find the patterns and sort your ideas into logical groups. Second, it refines. It'll suggest stronger words or a more professional tone, all while making sure your original meaning stays intact. Third, it structures. It might suggest a simple framework like problem, solution, benefit to give your message a clear logical flow. And finally, it helps you articulate. You can literally use it as a sparring partner to practice how you're going to say something and really sharpen your points. Okay, so what's the real-world result of all this? It's a massive, tangible shift. You go from feeling rushed and unheard to feeling composed and respected. And believe it or not, this change almost always starts with your writing. Just picture the transformation in your emails and reports. Before, maybe they felt a bit rushed, a little rambling. But after, they sound confident, concise. Instead of getting a bunch of follow-up questions, people just get it. The structure is clear, and your work comes across as thoughtful and really well organized. And the best part is, this new clarity doesn't just stay on the page. It naturally flows into how you speak. The practice of structuring your thoughts for an email makes you way better at structuring them on the fly in a conversation. Suddenly, meetings feel way less intimidating. Your points land with more punch. And, most importantly, that new confidence becomes totally visible to everyone else in the room. This all leads to something we could call the clarity dividend. It's the amazing long-term return you get from investing in clear communication, and it can fundamentally change how you're perceived at work. It's as simple and as powerful as this. When your ideas are delivered with clarity and confidence, they just carry more weight. People take them more seriously. They listen with more respect. Your words land with authority. This creates a huge shift in your professional identity. You stop being seen as just the person who does the work, and you start being seen as the person who understands the work. You're perceived as articulate, prepared. Your influence starts to grow, not because you're louder,
but because you're clearer. And you know what follows clarity? New opportunities. And that brings us to the next stage of this whole journey. Gaining clarity gives your work impact for sure. But what comes after that? Where does this new skill ultimately lead you? This is the key takeaway for today, right here. Being great at your job, that's about performance. But becoming a leader, a real force in your organization, that's about influence. And clear communication is the essential bridge that gets you from one to the other. However, and this is a little teaser for our next explainer, true leadership isn't just about being clear. It's about knowing when to speak, what to say, and how to balance all these competing priorities. It requires judgment. So, I'll leave you with this one final thought. By using AI as your thought partner, you can absolutely master the skill of clarity. The only question that's left is, once you have, are you ready to take that next step and lead? We'll explore that in our next explainer. Thanks for joining us.